Memory, this is where I went to high school. A lot of change happened here. A lot of things happened here. I was a very different person coming out than what I was going in. And I've walked through this spot many times. In fact, I got swooped by a plover bird along that track there near the bike racks a couple of years ago as well, so it actually drew a bit of blood. This track here leads into what people at high school used to call scabs, probably still do. This is where all the fights happened after school. Was never in one, but saw a few. My friend Marcus tried to get his brother out of a fight around here, roughly. Can't remember what year that was, but yeah, that was interesting. I've spent most of my time walking here thinking to myself quietly. Clean Up Australia Day, when I was class president, we got photos here with the Illawarra Mercury, where we all took photos. We had a green tinge, I was wearing a weird green jacket and I looked like a creeper. That I remember. Aha, here we go. This rock here. At some point or another in the early years of high school, walking up, I thought it was a moon rock. Thought it was kind of cool. That I remember. It's often muddy, and you'd have to jump over it like such. Ooh, there's a good story here as well. This cricket pitch here, which is now covered in water. Well, it wasn't covered in water at the time, but a few years, many years ago in fact, myself, my sister and my good friend at the time, Neville Sims, were here. We were playing cricket or some other game. Some people came down from there, we didn't know them. They were being kind of intimidating. It got a bit scary, they were being a bit violent and a bit, yeah, rough. My sister chased them away with a cricket stump, hide and seek. We used to play a game where we got this old bike wheel and we used to roll it because that was fun. And one time we rolled it from the top of that hill, or as close as we could get to the top. We'll see the hill in a second. From the very top we rolled it, it picked up some serious speed, we tried to run down with it, and then it crashed into that metal fence. Made the loudest bang I ever heard as a kid. We sprinted down and hid at my neighbour's house as soon as it collided. So I've had this house for a very long time, again about 10 years. My dad put in this, and he used to live in here. For some reason, so the car could back down easier. Even put a little pipe in there so water could flow through, but instead of just blocked it up. This corner is a very interesting spot that marks two things. Where I used to go for tons of walks with my neighbour, and it also is the place where I started to lose weight and get fit. One point I was like a 110 kilogram teenager. I decided to start going jogging, and this is pretty much exactly where I started a weight loss journey. On the corner of Edgeworth and William Beach, I've done many a stretch against the pole. Quite a lot over the years, in rain and sun and dark and light, in morning and evening. I started roughly about here, and this is where I began my jogging. And is like one of the places where I bought a pornographic magazine as a kid. So there, yeah, that's a place full of excitement and danger. And here I remember that area used to be the biggest hill, and whenever you were at the park over there, walking to the toilets which were here, it was like eternity. You just didn't want to do it, it took forever. this always felt like a cool foresty kind of area.
Yes, it would.
Which was very nifty, especially when you were younger, when these trees were 8 stories high.
Yep.
And yeah, very traditional foresty, weird freaking birds that I can't see. I can say that that wharf has a bit of significance. When I finished high school, on some point I decided that when exams finished, I would roar in triumph. And I finished my last exam and I felt too cowardly to roar. And this stuck with me for months after school had finished. Like, it was bugging the crap out of me that I didn't do this, and I felt like I couldn't move on to the next stage of my life until I completed it, literally. And so I remember one night, it was about 2 or 3 in the morning, I eventually found my way out here, walked out into the end of that wharf, and roared as loudly as I could for a burst, because it was hard to sustain, across the lake, and felt very fulfilled by the end of it, and then went home.
Just answer. Okay. What was one memory you remember about James?
First thing that comes to your head.
I don't know.
I can say the first thing that comes to my head when I think about you in memory.
Oh, that doesn't sound
Yeah,
right.
the serial killer is all like. Is the
I was
first
just
thing
going
that
to
comes
say
to mind.
English for you.
English.
You're not
okay.
so boring.
English. Fair enough.
You're not boring.
Oh, thank you.
I remember our debates in legal studies.
Yeah, that I was
fifth
right,
bureau.
but nobody knew.
Oh, you were not right.
I was always right,
Oh
never
my
wrong.
God. That's why the teacher would just go, that James Poole, fuck it.
His fighting spirit is what he thought. Fighting spirit and charisma.
You never won the war.
That's because everyone in the class was against me. You can't win against the majority. Not by technicality. I was right though.
You're never right.
I was right.
Oh my goodness.
Alright, before we get boggled down in that, what is your memory of James?
Ah, the hair.
Ah,
Can't go past it.
the hair. Interesting story to the hair. No. Well, thank you. Okay.
Now, here's a flashback.
No, I think it used to be short, then it got long. The end.
My God.
An epic. Okay. Ooh, memories flooding.
Flooding like a lake.
Yes, indubitably. This area I remember playing around in, sitting on that chair when I was tired because I didn't want to walk anymore. When I was very young and parents would take me for walks. A nice view of the lake. I remember looking out at that lake and going, this is very nice. Often it made me want to get out of Dapto and out of high school and succeed and do things. It was a great place where I used to flap my ambitious wings of dreaming and hope.
Your ambitious white spoonbill wings of dreaming.
My spoonbill white-breasted wings of ambition, yes. And I remember only recently looking at this sign thinking, that is an awful lot of money
Wow.
to pay a penalty for taking away a plant. Yes, 1,100,000 is quite a lot for plant removal. I think there might have been a mistake or a little bit of hyperbole in that. I remember sitting here after a long walk with family, one of the first times I would have come this way when I first moved here. And this was on the way back. I sat here because I was completely knackered and I could not barely see it, but there's a car park. Now, with Scouts, this is probably where the Scout memory came from, but with Scouts we had to walk up there, clean it up, and a friend chucked a used condom at me. That was pretty dirty. Yeah, friend.
Lovely.
I mentioned him in some of the previous recordings. Neville Sims, a friend of mine. This is where his ashes were spread. Yes, it's a foamy little area, but this is roughly where he spread his ashes, or his family did, and we were here for the ceremony. Yeah, from the lake. So I come here and, I don't know, I find this place kind of really significant now. I never did when I was younger. Not because I've had all the experience here, but because it's now associated with a lifetime of experience in my friend Neville. And all my memories of him are triggered in this little area here. If I come past here, I think about an entire lifetime with him, which is quite a lot of experience over the years. I knew him for about at least 7 or 8 years, I think. Yeah, and we were pretty good friends for a long time, and he died, and yeah. Now everything I remember about him his entire life is associated with this little corner. I don't know. I guess this is a very important part of my walk because it really hits the point of how one place can hold so much memory to people. Just because of where his ashes were spread and my personal experience, I now associate his life with this spot. This kind of represents where for the longest time of my life, this is the edge of Dapto for me. Like, it never went past it. And then I remember once walking down all the way over there where you can see the body of trees, and there's nothing else past that. There's a river and then nothing. And yeah, that's the edge of Dapto. Everything beyond that seems like a different world. And this corner and this area here is, I mean, we could go further, but we're not going to run out. We're going to run out of light if we do it. It's a bit much to go and do more recording tomorrow there, but yeah, that's. By the time I finished high school, and was starting to get ready for uni, it was a new section of my life, and that was a period where my desire to leave Dapto, I finally succeeded. I finally got out of that youth, that section of my life. I finally escaped, and at the same time I figured out that what I thought was the end of Dapto, there was still a little bit more there anyway. So I don't know, it was kind of meaningful that I felt trapped for so long, and then when I finally got freed I realised there was more edges to my cage, so to speak. And that's my walk down memory lane.